So this is a 3.8 Wrangler. It came in the shop on Tuesday with a no start condition. So what we did was we checked the fuses and the relays for the fuel pump, and we couldn't start it. But what we did do was we injected propane into the intake, and it fired up and ran on propane. So it's not an ignition problem. So we knew it was a fuel problem, and we tested the harness and it had power. So it's got to be the pump that failed, and we're doing that right now. We dropped the tank with the skid plate it has, and now we're getting ready to put the new fuel pump in and get it back in the Jeep and get it going. So right here we have our fuse box, okay, with our relays and all the other junk. And right here we have amazing Chrysler. I mean, this is just confusing. But so what we did was we swapped the starter and fuel pump relay because the vehicle cranks but doesn't start. We swapped those two and it's continued to crank. So that means we know that both relays are working. We checked the fuses for the fuel pump and ignition. Those work. And what we did here was we took the intake off and we actually fed propane down it and was able to fire up. So we know the fuel pump needs to go. All right, so right now we're transferring fuel out of the tank just to make it easier for install. So we're using this little fluid transfer pump and put it in this 5-gallon bucket that we cleaned out. Hopefully this will make it easier for us to get it in the Jeep without having to worry about fuel sloshing around, and it should be lighter for us to pick up. So whatever you can do to make it easier, right?
Okay, so right now we cleaned off around where the O-ring sits, and we're just about ready to put this back in. But Chris is going to get something to lubricate that O-ring just so it doesn't tear when we go to actually press this down and then twist it to lock it in place, because we don't want that O-ring to tear and then fuel starts leaking and then there's a potential fire hazard. So we're gonna do that and we're gonna get back to you when we put that in and then start to actually put it up.
Okay, so we just installed the new fuel pump in. It's really important that you memorize which direction it came off with. We know the connector went this way instead of this fuel line. Got the fuel pump in. Whenever you install the O-ring, we missed this part. You want to use something like Glide, lube up the O-ring well, and put the fuel pump in, put this retainer in, and get it back like it was. Make sure it's nice and secure. And after this, we're gonna put the gas tank back up.
Okay, so right now we have the gas tank up. It's a gas tank and skid plate in one piece. So we are slowly tightening the bolts around. We're going in we're not tightening down all the way yet. We're getting some of them snugged in. Make sure we can get all of our bolts lined up, and then we can worry about tightening it and actually torquing stuff to spec. And then before we're done, we have to retighten this control arm up here because we needed to remove that bolt so we can get a little more access.
And one more thing I would like to add, I'm getting this hose back on here, and then we gotta get one more connector. And then also shout out to Snap-on, sponsoring us with tools to do this job.
I love Snap-on. So we got the gas tank all secured, and now we're just going over one more time just to make sure everything is good. We got our filler neck. We're making sure this is tight because this could be a real problem if it's not. Got all of our hoses and our evap lines. Make sure those are all secure. We don't want any of those coming off. All our bolts are tight, securing the skid plate and the gas tank. And we already did this, but up there, and there's our fuel pump. We made sure that connection is good, and that hose, the fuel line is on properly. And then all the hoses over here, all good. Our skid plate up here is now back and tight. And this thing's ready to be dropped on the ground and put some gas in it. We're filling it back up with gas. We took the gas out when we put the tank in. Should make it a little bit more convenient. We're getting a lot of gas in the ground.
All right, fire her up. So here we're putting gas into the gas tank. As you can see, Chuck's doing a great job. He's spilling it all over our nice floor.
You want to do it?
No, you're doing a great job.
We put gas in it. We got everything back in. We got the gas tank, gas cap tightened. So now we got to see, is it going to fire up?
Prime the system. Cycle the key a couple times. Wait, check this out.